Good evening and welcome to TimeTube, the news outlet that brings you back in time to interview some of the world's most memorable figures. Today on the show, we are doing a special, giving a lesson on the history of television. Before we get started, let me tell you about the technology on the show. The TimeTube by Blamsum is some of today's most useful time-traveling techs. It allows the user to view anything back in time without actually being there. Instead, it is displayed on a 52-inch high-def television set. Let's head on inside to our host, Tony Rogers. Tony?
Good evening, Tony Rogers here. Welcome to TimeTube, the only show to go back in time to get the scoop. Now, as you know, we have a very special day today as we are going to give you a history lesson of the television. We started back off in the 1920s with John Logie Baird, who is credited with the invention of the first television set. Let's turn on the TimeTube and ask him some questions.
So, hi everyone. As you already know, my name is John Logie Baird. I'm the first person in the world who demonstrated a working television system. On January 26, 1926, a viable television system was demonstrated using mechanical picture scanning with electronic amplification. Between 1902 and 1907, Arthur Korn invented and built the first successful signal conditioning circuits for image transmission. However, I was the direct beneficiary of Korn's research and success. In 1920, I created the first screen capable of create numbers. Then, in 1923, I was capable to transmit numbers and images. And finally, in 1926, my device was able to transmit and project moving images. The rest, as you already know, 1926, a viable television system was demonstrated.
Fascinating information from John Logie Baird himself. Now we are going to move on to something that is a little more celebrated. The Olympics, first filmed and broadcasted in 1936 in Berlin. Here we are.
That's right, Tony. These were the Olympics of Berlin in 1936. What's interesting about it is that it was the first televised Olympics. Back at you, Tony.
Pardon me. Aperture Laboratories just released a new coffee mug. Apparently it keeps your coffee fresh for ages. Now you're probably wondering where color television came in all this. The first known broadcasted color TV show was known as Premiere. It premiered and broadcasted on June 25th, 1951, in areas such as Boston, Philadelphia, Baltimore, and Washington, D.C. Not very many people got this reception, as it was a very, very early time in color television. Here's a small clip from Premiere.
And get me to the church, get me to the church, for Pete's sake, get me to the church all the time.
I'm just looking for the moon landing. Hold your horses.
I'm going to step off the limb. That's one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind. Columbia.
This is Apollo Control Houston at 105 hours, now into the flight to Apollo 11. Our current plan is to have crew members aboard the Eagle to eat and relax for a little while prior to starting EVA prep, so we won't know with certainty.
With all this technology developed in almost a century, we have come so far from the very first television by John Logie Baird himself. Now, it makes me wonder, where are we headed to? What's next? 3D TVs are already on the market as we know it, and since we have a TimeTube, let's check the future.
Well, Tony, I expect nothing but great things for the future of television. We already made an historical event by creating the first color television. I would like to see color, picture, and all-around definition just become breathtaking, should I say. Thanks for having me on TimeTube. See you later.
By now you're probably thinking where color came in and all this.
Come on, man.
Now that we have given you a brief history lesson on the history of television, we're wondering what's next. This,
Go ahead, get into the character. 110%.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Take one, or take three, ish. Good Good evening, and welcome to TimeTube, the news outlet that brings you back in time to interview some of the world's most memorable figures. Today on the show, we are doing a special, giving a lesson on the history of television.
Tony Rogers in the TimeTube.
What am I doing here?
Would you like to watch some Tube with Tony?
Alright, guys, I don't know if you can tell yet, but that's me. Right there. There's two of me in this picture. So crazy. You know what I mean.